Let's double check. Check, check, check. All right. YouTube looks good. Making sure the sound is working. Check, check, check. Check, check. Okay. That is working well. All right, you can put what you call it, the attendance sheet on the chat bubble show. On both Facebook and YouTube. Kashaka War, Shalom, brother Yahweh Bashim Sharpata. We're gonna get started in a few moments. Priest and Officer Abadia is assisting me with the login information, all right? Everyone on the YouTube, Shalom, Yahweh Bashim Sharpata to the brothers, Yahweh Shemar Latam Bashim Shai to the sisters, Just Art and Paint, Shalom, Angela Rispers, Shalom, John Johnson, Shalom. All right, make sure you guys sign in. It's the first link. All right. All right, we're going to get started. So today is Tuesday. And if you don't know, every Tuesday is Brotherhood class. And on Brotherhood class, we can go over many different subjects in the Bible that all pertain to brotherhood. We can go over scriptures. We can go over stories. We can relate it to world events, current events, right? But this is the I.S.U.P.K headquarters Brotherhood class on Tuesday. I am Priest and Officer of 1,000, Ashar Gapan. Assisting me is Priest and Officer of 1,000 as well, Officer Abadia. This is the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. Since 1969, we have been teaching the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native American, indigenous people of the Americas, whatever byword we have been associated and been called till this day. We've been teaching our people that we are the real and only Jews of the Bible. We are the real and only Israelites of the Bible. We make up the 12 tribes of Israel, and we are the only race of people that God loves on this entire earth. And that a black man by who you know as Jesus Christ died only for us, came to save only us, was the King of Israel, our people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. So we're going to hop in today. If you can see the title of today's class, it's Abraham. We're going to go over some stories of Abraham, and we're going to be going over whether it was what he did or did not do was brotherly or sisterly, or if it was. All right. So Badi Baba Kashan on the board, can you please put on the top board, brotherhood equals sisterhood? Sisterhood. You cannot have brotherhood without sisterhood. You need to learn how to be a brother to a brother and how to be a brother to a sister, and vice versa. We all need, our sisters need to learn how to be a sister to other sisters and how to be a sister to brothers. So right now, right, underneath that Abadia, I would like for you to put Abraham, all right? Because today we're going to be talking about Abraham. So everyone that is listening, Make sure you have your Bibles. Make sure you have your notebooks. Make sure you have a pen, your trusty pencil, your pencil sharpener, whatever it is you need to take notes. Because we're gonna go dive in on Abraham and brotherhood / sisterhood. Okay. So let's everyone go to Genesis chapter 12. I'll give everyone a few moments to go to Genesis chapter 12. All right. And we're gonna start at verse 1. Can you write Genesis chapter 12 up there, Baba Kasha? Also, Badia, in case you want to talk, turn on this little black box down here. I'm gonna give you this wireless mic, all right? It's right in the front. It's the really long black. You see it? The really long black box. Yeah, the one on the bottom. There's a switch on one of the corners. You got it? Check the water. I'm going to start off on Genesis chapter 12, and we're going to start at verse 1. All right? So, Badia, whenever you got it, Baba Kasha, you can please read. We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 1.
That's Genesis 12 and 1. Now the Most High had said unto Abram, "Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And curse him that curse thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed."
So right now, from verses 1 to 3, we're learning how the Lord wants Abraham to leave his father's land, right? We're learning how the Lord is going to bless Abraham, how people who bless Abraham will also be blessed, right? How people who curse Abraham will also be cursed. Let's keep going. Wait, hold on. Just to add, so Abraham is hearing all these great things, right? Now, being in the world, it's easy to be selfish, right? A lot of our brothers and sisters that are still in the world, and us who can't come into the truth, we've experienced this feeling of getting all these rewards and knowing that we're going to get something, right? And it's easy to become selfish. And being selfish is not something that's brotherly. Being selfish is not something that's sisterly. All right. So one would think that, okay, I'm about to receive all these things. People are going to listen and do things I want them to do. I'm going to be blessed. Whoever curses me, they're going to suffer, right? It's easy to be selfish. But we're going to find out if Abraham, at this particular moment in time, did the brotherly thing or whether he did the unbrotherly thing. Keep reading, Baba Kasha.
So Abram departed as the Most High had spoken unto him, and Lot was with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran.
Keep going.
And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came.
So Abraham did not do the selfish thing. What Abraham did was a selfless thing. He put brotherhood first. He knew he was going to get all these blessings because he followed and obeyed the Lord, right? He was obeying the Lord, when the Lord told him to leave. Instead of he could have just dipped and went by himself. Could have just brought his wife. Could have left his brother's son Lot in that land. Could have left his herdsmen in that land. Could have left Lot's herdsmen in that land. But Abraham had a sense of brotherhood at this particular moment. It was a great display because he did not want to be selfish. He wanted to take his loved ones with him. He wanted to save his loved ones. He wanted his loved ones to be with him while he's being blessed, right? Just like the I.S.U.P.K since 69, we don't want to be selfish and get all these blessings ourselves. We want all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to thrive with us, to prosper with us, to get all the blessings the Lord promised our ancestors, right? We want the Lord to send Christ back to save all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. There's some Israelite groups, right, that don't care about the 2/3 that are prophesied to die and be put into destruction with the rest of these heathens. But here in the ISUPK, we want those 2/3 to be saved too. We want the Lord to repent and take back this prophecy that He gave our prophets. We want the Lord to to see our cries. We want the Lord to see all the work that we do and prove to Him that these 2/3 that are prophesied to be destroyed, that they too can change, that the Lord too can and should have mercy on them. If the Lord could have mercy on us and we can prove to Him that we can change, then the Lord can the Lord please have mercy on the 2/3 that are prophesied to be destroyed, because we pray for them to be saved. We pray every day for them to change their lives, to put the drugs down, to put the alcohol down, to put the womanizing and prostitution and pimping down, to put the drugs away, to put the molestations away, to stop engaging in homosexuality. We want all Israel to survive. We want all Israel to thrive. We don't want to be selfish and just push and promote that only 1/3 of Israel and 144,000 will be saved. We want all Israel to be saved. And right here, Abraham showed a great deal of brotherhood, because he wanted his people to be saved as well. He wanted his people to enjoy and come with him on this journey where they will all be blessed by the Lord. Because if Abraham is being blessed, it trickles down. They'll have food to eat. They'll prosper. They'll have water to survive. They can grow into big nations or kingdoms or whatever the Lord would have promised to unfold. So Abraham did the brotherly thing right here and bringing along his wife, his brother's son Lot, which is his nephew, his own herdsman, and Lot's herdsman as well. Keep going, Baba Kasha.
And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was in the land, was then in the land. 7. And the Most High appeared unto Abram and said, unto I.S.U.P.K I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Most High, who appeared unto him. Unto him. 8. And he removed from thence out into a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the right, on the east. And there he built an altar unto the Most High, and called upon the name of the Most High.
Keep going.
9. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land.
So right now we just read how Abraham built an altar to the Lord to honor him, to praise him for all the things that are about to happen in terms of Abraham's blessing. And once Abraham was done, he decided to journey southwards towards Egypt. However, there was a famine in the land. There was a great lack of food. You know, with famines, people starve. You know, here in the U.S., there was the Lord almost brought a famine to the United States during the whole COVID plague. The Lord created and brought all over this world. There was almost going to be a meat shortage. There all this food. The dairy farmers were dumping milk away like it was nothing, when those milk could have been given to freely to people to survive, to eat with cereal, to make bread, to survive. There was almost a famine in this world just like there was a famine going on at this time in Egypt, right? And the famine was very grievous. It was very harsh. It was and destroying the entire land. All right, give us one moment. We're waiting for Officer Abadia. Now we're on verse 11, brother.
And it came to pass when he was near to enter into Egypt that he said to Sarai, now I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon.
Now, Abraham turns to his wife and is telling her, I know thou art a fair woman. But he's saying this because of a specific reason. Egypt, and there's a famine going on in the world right now, right? And he's telling his wife, Sarah, you are a beautiful woman. Fair doesn't mean light skin according to the Bible, according to Old English. Fair means pretty, dazzling, gorgeous, enchanting, mesmerizing. You know what I mean? When you look at a woman and you look at her and you think she's fly, you think she's dope, you think that's a dime piece, she's a bag of chips and then a cent. Well, listen, this is what this means back then. She was fair, she was beautiful. Now let's see where this is leading. Keep going, Baba Kasha.
Therefore shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, this is his wife, and they will kill thee, but they will save thee alive.
So Abraham is worried that when the Egyptians see his 10 out of 10 looking wife, his Beyonce of a wife, his Rihanna of a wife, right? His Jennifer Lopez of a wife, right? When they see his Halle Berry looking wife, right? When they see his Mariah Carey looking wife, when they see his beautiful wife, Abraham is worried and concerned. And in his mind, he has convinced himself that they're going to kill him because he has such a beautiful wife, so that his wife can belong to them. So that way his life can be saved to marry one of these Egyptians. This is what Abraham is worried about, right? Now it makes sense for a brother to be concerned about his woman, for a brother to be concerned about his wife. There's nothing wrong about informing your wife about these concerns. Listen, I think they're gonna kill me when they find out you're my wife because you're just goddamn gorgeous. You're just so beautiful. Nothing wrong with that, right? Let's keep going.
13. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister.
What?
Thou art my sister.
Isn't Sarah his wife? But Abraham wants Sarah to say what?
Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with thee for my sake, and my soul shall live because of thee.
So what Abraham is doing a very unbrotherly thing right here, because he's trying to get and forcing his wife to lie. Now, here in the I.S.U.P.K, in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, right, under Commanding General YAHANNA, we have something called honor. We have something called pride, and it's a righteous honor, and it is a righteous pride. And we do not lie for anyone. We do not try to convince our brothers to lie for us or to lie for someone else. We do not get our sisters to lie for us or to lie for someone else, no matter if we're facing death. We don't compromise here in the I.S.U.P.K. It's all about no cowards or nothing. You're either not a coward or you are a coward, and you don't belong in the I.S.U.P.K. And right now, Abraham is doing a very unbrotherly thing. He's convincing his wife to lie to these heathens. We don't lie to no one. People who lie to other people is because they are scared. People who don't tell the truth when they're asked a question is because they are scared. They're scared of the repercussions that may happen. They're scared of what may transpire. They're scared of disappointment. They're scared of discipline. They're scared of punishment. Well, listen, Abraham was scared to die when he should have been honored and proud and righteous, because he should have known that the Lord will be with him. The Lord has been with Abraham this entire time, from the time he spoke to Abraham, telling him about these blessings, telling him to leave the land, allowing him to build an altar to him, allowing him safe travels to Egypt. And now Abraham would think that the Lord is not with him, so he has to lie that Sarah's not his wife to save his own life. The Lord heals and the Lord wounds. The Lord kills and the Lord makes alive. Right? Abraham is doing a very unbrotherly thing right here. Getting his sister, because we're all brothers and sisters in this truth. We all come from the same family tree. Getting his wife to lie. Right? Let's keep going, Baba Kishal.
14, and it came to pass that when Abram was coming to Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair.
And it's exactly going according to plan. When they got into Egypt, the Egyptians saw the wife of Abraham and said, damn, she's pretty. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. Keep going.
15, the princes also of Pharaoh saw her.
And the princes. So the common people of Egypt saw the beautiful Sarah. The people who were guards and warriors saw Sarah's beauty. And now the royalty and nobility of Pharaoh's home were seeing how beautiful this woman was. Pharaoh's sons, his princes, were seeing how beautiful this woman was. Keep going. 15, we're still on 15.
The princes also of Pharaoh saw her and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken in the Pharaoh's house.
And they commended her before Pharaoh, and they took her from Abraham to Pharaoh's house. So they didn't kill Abraham because he said that was his sister, right? They spared his life, but they took his wife from him and brought Sarah into the house of Pharaoh. Now, Abraham did a very dishonorable thing by lying and getting his wife to lie. He did a very unbrotherly thing to do. And Sarah, right? Sarah should have told the truth. She should not have lied for her husband. Because if the Lord is with Abraham, then the Lord will be with her. Right? Because she's following Abraham on this journey. She's obeying all the righteous things that Abraham is doing. She did something very unsisterly as well. She went right along with this lie. Keep going, Baba Gasha.
16, and he entreated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep and oxen and he asses and men servants and maid servants and she asses and camels.
Right? And Abraham had all these things. Right? Keep going.
17, and the Most High plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plague because of Sarai, Abram's wife.
So because Sarah was in Abraham's house, because Sarah was in Pharaoh's house and not with Abraham, the Lord decided to plague the house of Pharaoh. Plague this so much that the Pharaoh is going to return Sarah back to Abraham. Right? Keep going.
With great plague because of Sarai, Abram's wife. 18, and Pharaoh called Abram and said, what is this that thou hast done unto me? Why dost thou not tell me that she was thy wife?
Now Pharaoh's like, what the hell is going on? All these curses and all these plagues and all these misfortunes and mishaps are happening to me and my household ever since this woman was brought here. Ever since we took this woman from her brother Abraham. But Pharaoh then realizes that this isn't just Abraham's sister. This is his wife. He tells Abraham, why is it that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou tell me that she was thy wife? Why did you lie to me? You didn't have to lie to me. If you would have just told me the truth, she would have just stayed your wife and nothing would have happened. Everything would have been all good. Everything would have been fine, right? That's because at this moment in time, Abraham didn't have didn't trust in the Lord to protect him and his household. Abraham did an unbrotherly thing to try to save himself from death. He did a selfish thing right here. In the beginning, he did a selfless thing by bringing along his wife, his workers, his servants, his brother's son, his nephews, right? He did a selfless thing, but right here he did a selfish thing because he wanted to save his own behind. He wanted to save his own life, and he did not trust in the Lord. So he did an unbrotherly thing and made his own wife lie. He lied to heathens because he was scared. He made his wife lie to heathens because he was scared. Keep going, Bubba Shaw.
Now therefore, behold thy wife and take her.
Sorry, we're verse 19. Starting verse 19, Bubba Shaw.
Yeah, God, that's what I was.
Can you reread it, please?
God, why saidest thou she is my sister? So I might have taken her to me to wife.
And he's telling, and Pharaoh's telling Abraham, why did you tell me she was my sister, your sister? I was going to make her my wife. I was going to lay down and sleep with her. I was going to have a wedding ceremony. I was going to have a party and everything. I was going to make her my wife. But she is actually your wife. But you told me she was your sister. Keep going, Baba Shah.
Now therefore, behold thy wife. Take her and go thy way.
Now listen, take your wife. Get out of here because, you brought all these plagues into my house. You brought all these curses into my house. Get out of here. Take her and be gone. Leave my kingdom. Keep going.
And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had.
So Pharaoh allowed Abraham, Sarah, Lot, his nephew, all the herdsmen from Abraham and Lot, all their cattle, their sheep, everything, their riches. He allowed them to leave his land. Just take everything and go. I don't want you here anymore because you're making our people suffer. Right? Keep going. Chapter 13.
13:1, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. 2, and Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. 3, and he went on his journey from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai. 4, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. Then Abram called on the name of the Most High. 5, and Lot also, which went with him, with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents.
So here we're getting some more information on where Abraham and his family went, the things they did, right? And we're about to get into another great example of brotherhood, right? The first example was Abraham not being selfish and escaping with just himself, right? He brought his entire family and his extended family and his servants with him. Then we learned about a selfish moment, a very unbrotherly moment Abraham did by getting his wife to lie, by him lying himself to Pharaoh and the Egyptians. Now we're about to learn of another example, and we're going to learn whether it was brotherly or unbrotherly to do, right? Keep going, Baba Show.
6, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together.
So Abraham had his flocks, cattle, and all that, and Lot had all his flocks and cattle and all that. They all had herdsmen, their own servants, and they're all living on the same land, and it just isn't enough space. They're dwelling in the same location, and it's causing complications. It's causing issues. It's causing problems. When you're too crowded, when you're too bunched up together, we like a little bit of breathing room, right? Keep going, Baba Shah.
7, and there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle.
Read it again, Baba Shah.
And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle.
So there was a problem. There was a strife. There was some beefing going on. There was some fighting, some arguing. There was a little bit of fist throwing, right? Some yelling, some insults. Brothers are being unbrotherly right now. People who have worked together for quite some time are now becoming irritated with each other, annoyed, frustrated, fighting over resources, fighting over water, fighting over land, fighting over food, right? Not being able to have their flocks and their cattle graze because there's already a flock of a flock and cattle grazing in this location. Keep going. Listen, and the last thing you want is for your enemies to see your brotherhood falling apart. The last thing you want is for your enemies to see weakness amongst the brotherhood. And here in the ISUPK, we whip weakness out of here. Brothers who are just unbrotherly, we force them to leave. We get them to leave. Because we can't have any weakness in this brotherhood. We can't have any weakness in this sisterhood. Brothers who got problems with other brothers, there's certain things you do and go about to resolve that and solve that. About even the mic when you call, make sure the mic's off when you're not speaking, okay? Throw out, brother. You all right though? See, get yourself some water or something, all right? Right? For sisters and run their mouths of other sisters and talk about behind their, for both brothers and sisters who like to write subliminal messages towards each other, listen, there is no room for that here in the ISUPK. There's no room for that in the brotherhood that Commanding General YAHANNA has been pushing and fighting for this entire time he held on to the truth. And we're gonna and thank the Lord for General Muhammad, because he will be the first one to want a brother kicked out the damn school for being unbrotherly and unsisterly. Right? So right here, there's a moment where Abraham and his family are being unbrotherly and unsisterly to each other. And the heathens are watching. The heathens are there. The heathens, this will allow heathens or people of other races to know weaknesses of ours. And we can't afford that. We can't have no weakness in the ISUPK. We can't have white people seeing us fighting amongst each other as a weakness. We can have Africans and Arabs and Asians see weaknesses here in the ISUPK. It's nothing but strength, hardcore, real brotherhood. Keep going, Baba Show.
Abram said on the lot, let there be no strife, I pray between you and me, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen.
What did Abraham just say?
Strife, I pray between you and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen. For we be brothers.
For we are what?
Brothers.
Are my herdsmen and your herdsmen are what?
Brothers.
You and me lot are what?
Brothers.
Abadia and myself are what? Listen, we're brothers. God damn it. We can overcome anything. There's no need to fight. We're family. Your herdsmen, my herdsmen, they're family. You are my nephew. I'm your uncle. We're family here in the ISUPK. You know how in the world brothers will say, we ain't gonna fight over women, right? That's brotherly. That's that idea, that concept is brotherhood. We're not gonna fight over women. We're not gonna fight over spilt milk. We're not gonna fight over money. That concept and that idea is based on brotherhood. And we're watching it play out right now. Because instead of going to war with each other, instead of fighting each other, Abraham tells his nephew, listen, we shouldn't fight. We don't have to fight. We don't need to fight. We're brothers. We are family. Let's squash this beef that's been going on between us. Let's make our servants squash this beef that they got going on between each other. Keep going, Baba Show. Look, you see all this goddamn land here? You see all this land? Land over here, land over there, land over here, land up here, land back that way. There's so much goddamn land here. We don't need to be fighting. Keep going.
I pray thee,
No.
separate thyself, I pray thee, from me.
Listen, let's separate each other. Let's separate from each other. Right? I could go this way, you can go that way, and we all have enough land to survive. There won't be any problems. There'll be grass and berries and fruits for our cattle and herds to eat. There'll be enough land and space for us to put up our tents and live comfortably. All we gotta do is you go one way, I go the other way, and everything could be solved. Keep going, Baba Kasha.
If thou wilt look and will take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou wilt depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left.
Listen, Abraham's being even extra brotherly. He goes, listen. I'll let you choose. You can go to the left, nothing but great land over there, and I'll just go to the right. Or you can go to the right because it's filled with good grass and grazing for the cattle. It doesn't matter to me. I'll go in the opposite direction you go in. I'll let you decide. I'll let you pick first, and I'll go in the opposite direction. Keep going, Baba Shah.
Verse 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere before the Most High destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah.
So listen, Lot ends up looking in the direction of the plains of Jordan, right? And he sees that it's beautiful over here. Everything he needs to thrive and prosper. This is also in the same direction and in the same land area as the cities of Sodom, Gomorrah, and all the other cities we end up reading about that were just filled with wickedness and sin. Before it was destroyed, it was a wonderful place to live. Abundance in water. There was grass, was that special kind of green, right? There was enough space for him to survive and prosper with his servants. Keep going, Baba Shah.
Even as the garden of the Most High, like the land of Egypt, and as thou comest unto Zoar. 11. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other.
So Lot chose to go east in the direction of the plains of Jordan, right? And they separated. They parted ways. They said goodbye to each other, They gave each other a hug, a dap, And they went their separate ways in the spirit of brotherhood, so that way they can be no more fighting. That way they can be enough space for the both of them to thrive and prosper and grow and become strong and exceedingly abundant in all the things that they need to survive. Keep going, Baba Shah. Verse 12.
Well, and Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom.
Keep going, Baba Shah.
But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Most High exceedingly.
So now we're learning, right? Abraham went into the land of Canaan, which will end up becoming known as the land of Israel, our homeland. And Lot went in the direction of the city of Sodom and the city of Gomorrah and the other cities that were destroyed eventually, right? Now, Lot ended up living and setting up shop where it was in a land where it was just filled with wickedness, filled of sinners exceedingly. And we end up learning how Sodom and Gomorrah were just filled with homosexuals, lesbians, sexual predators, sexual deviants, child molesters, all sinners, people who engage in having sex with animals. It was just any wickedness and sin you can think of. That's what Sodom and Gomorrah was filled with. And it just ran rampant throughout the entire city, throughout all those cities there. Give me 1 second. Let me just check the comments and see if there's any questions or comments. Everything is good on the Facebook. Let me look at the YouTube. Any questions on YouTube? Okay. All right, let's keep going, brother. Hold on, wait. I'm sorry, 1 second. Let me just make sure. All right, let's go to let's skip forward. Let's go to Genesis chapter 14. Right? So while people are getting there, we learned of two examples where Abraham did the brotherly thing, right? We learned of one example where Abraham did the unbrotherly thing. When he lied when he was scared for his own life, so he decided to lie to Pharaoh. Where he got his wife to lie to Pharaoh and say that he wasn't his wife but his sister, just so Abraham wouldn't be put to death. Right? So we got two. You okay, brother? You sure? So we got two examples of good, great examples of brotherhood, of selflessness, right? And going to your brother and him alone to solve a problem and come to a solution where where he can gain a brother. And we learned about an unbrotherly thing where he lied and got his wife to lie, right? So let's read chapter 14, Bible.
14 and
We start at verse 1.
14 and 1. And it came to pass in the days of Raphael, I.S.U.P.K, king of I.S.U.P.K, Kedor Laomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Barak, king of Sodom, and with Bershah, king of Gomorrah, Shinar, king of Admah, and Shenaber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bala, which is Zawar.
So we're learning about two different groups of people, right? Let's just put them in two separates, right? We're learning about one side of people waging war against the other side of people, right? Now we see that one side is the king of Sodom, where Lot lives, the king of Gomorrah, where Lot lives, the king of Admah, where Lot lives, the king of Zeboim, where Lot lives, right? The king of Bela, where Lot lives. Lot lives in the plains of Jordan. Lot lives in this land where all these kingdoms are set up, right? And they're waging war with another group of people, with other kings, right? Let's keep reading. Bakasha, verse 3. Is it on? Turn it on. Yeah. Yeah, take these batteries, Bakasha. Might have to switch the batteries. That was strange. Just switching the batteries on the mics. Oh, drop that. Here you go, brother. Hold on, you gotta open it first. Boom. There you go. And then put these mics in there, but we're sure. Kind of try. If you smack it out, might be easier. There you go. Here, no sweat. And put this one. Make sure you put it in correctly. There's a directional pattern. All right. Is it on? Here. All right, perfect. Most high in Christ. All right. So we're finding out that there's going on between two warring parties. We're on verse 3 now, but sure.
3. All these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 4. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Eames in Ham, and the Emims in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in their Mount Seir.
Let's skip down to verse 10. So listen, as you read the next few verses, it's just war. These people, these warring parties are waging war against each other, right? Let's go to verse 10.
10. And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their victuals, and went their way.
So of course, in any war, right, the spoils go to the victor.
Right.
So the party that won was the king of Elam, Chedorlaomer, however you pronounce his heathen name, right? He won, his side won, so they're collecting all the spoils of Sodom and Gomorrah. Keep reading, Babu Shah.
And they took Lot.
What?
Lot.
Who?
Lot.
What?
Lot.
After this, and part of the spoils, they took Lot.
Right.
Lot was just living peacefully in the land, not involved in the war at all. Just thriving, do what he can, obeying the Lord, like Abraham taught him, right? And they came and they took Lot as part of the spoils. Keep going, Babu Shah.
Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed.
They not only took Lot, they took Lot's entire family. They took all of Lot's servants. They took all of Lot's cows and sheep and lambs and goats and gold and silver and trinkets. They took everything from Lot, and they took Lot too. Keep going, Babu Shah.
Salaki, and there came one that had escaped.
However, one of Lot's men escaped. Keep going.
And told Abram the Hebrew.
And went and made a report to Abraham. He knew that Lot had family that lived nearby, and he went to Abraham to let him know what have befell, what has befallen his nephew that he loves, Lot. Keep going.
For he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abraham.
And right, Abraham lived in this land, and he had all these other people that are around him that were confederate with Abraham, that were peaceful with Abraham, right? So Abraham didn't really have to worry about the heathens that lived around him. Now listen, I don't know about you, but when a brother comes to me and tells me he's in trouble, I do my best to assist that brother. I go out my way to help that brother. And that's because in the I.S.U.P.K, that's how they trained and raised me. When a brother's in trouble, we run to that brother's aid. Right? This past weekend in the I.S.U.P.K annual East Coast cookout, you know, the Lord, it was so merciful. He held back the floods and the rains from the hurricane that was passing by. And we had a glorious cookout, which showed a great display of brotherhood and sisterhood, right? However, during the evening time, during nighttime, it was flooding, it was raining. We had storm surges, extreme downpours, and some brothers and some sisters got caught out in the rain driving and got into accidents. And you know what happened? The I.S.U.P.K were called. They called their brothers, they called their sisters, and we went to go rescue our brothers. We went to go save our sisters. We dispatched men to go drive and pick these brothers up, pick these sisters up, go to the hospital, right? Car crashes, we were there with them. We went to go save our brothers. Now, when a brother comes to us and tells us that they're in trouble, that other brothers are in trouble, we run to their aid. We make all the phone calls we got to make. We make sure that we're doing the correct thing the correct way, and we go rescue our brothers and our sisters, right? Let's keep reading. Let's see what Abraham is going to do. Let's see if he's going to choose brotherhood or if he's going to turn his back on brotherhood. Read, Baksha.
trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto death.
Read that again. What did Abraham do?
On his trained servants,
He gave his brothers guns, swords, pistols, right? He in this day and age, he gave them all swords, spears, javelins, whatever they could get their hands on, clubs, wooden staffs, whatever they were able to use as weapons, whatever they trained with, that's what they went to go to war with. Abraham had all his servants, all his men equip themselves for war. No matter what kind of weapon it was, that's the weapon they used to go to war. You want to say something about you?
no, I'm good.
Right? You're gonna say something about the weaponry, right?
No, I was gonna say they're heathens, so they wouldn't really be brothers.
No, Salakia, who was born in his house.
Khan, born in his house. Heathens, servants born in his house.
No sweat. So he had his trained servants all geared up for war, right?
God.
So like I think that's his herdsmen that he brought with him from
Khan.
his land, not necessarily heathens.
Khan, but what's called, he was told to remove from his family, so you wouldn't have, and also you wouldn't really have your family as your servant.
I get you, right? Keep going, Baba Show.
Khan, sir. In his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. 15, and he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus.
So Abraham and his servants just went on a rampage of slaughtering all these other heathens just to go rescue Lot. Keep going.
16, and he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot.
What?
And also brought again his brother Lot.
So they went on a war rampage, fighting this person and this group of people, all to get Abraham's nephew Lot back, to get his belongings back, to get his family back, to get his servants back. Keep going, Baba Shah.
Salagif. And his goods, and the women also, and the people.
Now this is brotherhood right here. Abraham, he didn't have to go to war. He didn't have to rescue Lot. Lot made the decision to go in that direction and live there. That's Lot's problem, right? Abraham didn't have to sacrifice his own men, his own servants, to go get Lot, to go rescue Lot, put them in harm's way, right? But that's what Abraham did. Abraham did the brotherly thing to go rescue his brother, to go rescue his nephew Lot. This is a great display of brotherhood. Sacrificing everything to go save your brother, go rescue your brother. And not just rescue him, but all his belongings. He went to get back all his belongings. He went to go get back all the women that were taken. He went to rescue all the people, the women, the men, the elderly, right? The teenagers, the young children, the toddlers. He went to go rescue them all. But more importantly, he went to go rescue his nephew, his own flesh and blood, his own flesh of his flesh, his own bone of his bone, right? And that's something that's very important, because we need to save our people. If we are in a position where we can save our people, it is our responsibility and it is our duty to do so. Right? It doesn't say Lot was a sinner and that he should be destroyed. The Lord, as we read, right? As we keep reading along in Genesis, we're going to end up reading on how Abraham had pleaded with the Lord to save those who were righteous living in Sodom and Gomorrah. And Lot and his family were the ones that were righteous living in Sodom and Gomorrah. So they were obeying the Lord, right? From what we can conclude. And that's brotherhood. Going to rescue your brother in the time of need. Yeah, they had an argument. So what? That's in the past. Nothing should stand in the way of this brotherhood. Not no women, not no money, not no cattle, not no land. None of that matters when it's up against brotherhood. Brotherhood triumphs all. Because without brotherhood, Lot would have been lost and destroyed by King Chedorlaomer, whatever that heathen's name is, whatever that East Indian's name is. He would have been lost. All his stuff would have been just taken and distributed amongst that heathen king. Lot could have been put to death. His family could have been put to death. All his men could have been put to death. But Abraham went to go save his brother, went to go rescue his brother, and that was Lot. Right? So this is a great example of brotherhood. Abraham running to the rescue, running to put to death anyone who had a hand in the destruction of his brother, in the enslavement of his brother, in the death of his brother. Right? So let's skip that. And we're going to go to, we're going to stay in Genesis, right? And we're going to go to Genesis chapter. I believe it's Genesis chapter 18. Hold on one second. We're going to start on verse 8. We're going to start Genesis chapter 18, verse 1. We're gonna see another moment of brotherhood that can be used to inspire how we should treat each other. You know, this past weekend we had the I.S.U.P.K annual East Coast Cookout. Abadia, we had brothers from Chicago that came, right? We had brothers from Indianapolis that came, brothers from Texas, brothers from Florida, Boston, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, right? Brothers from Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland. We have brothers all over the place come, right? And what did we spend months doing? What did we spend that week before the cookout doing? What did we spend the first 2 days right before the cookout? What did we spend cookout morning doing, Abadia? We spent this entire time preparing so that way we can take care of our brothers and we can take care of our sisters. And we're going to read about another brotherhood moment, because when brothers and sisters come to you, it is our obligation to care them. They're coming into our home. They're coming into our territory. They're coming into our part of the land. And it's our duty to show them love, to show them brotherhood, to show them sisterhood. Right? You all right? No sweat. Take your time. Right? And in Genesis chapter 18, as we read, we're going to see a great display of brotherhood that Abraham is about to do. We're gonna read this once Abadia gets back. Let me just check the YouTube again. Any questions or comments? Let's see. All right. YouTube looks good. Let me check the Facebook. No questions on Facebook. All right, we're looking good on both Facebook and YouTube. Can you read, Baba Kasha? And for anyone that's watching class, I'm sorry, verse chapter 18, verse 1. We're gonna start verse 1, all right? For anyone that's watching class right now on Facebook or YouTube, if you have any questions, any comments, type them in, and I'll do my best to get them, all right? Again, just keep in mind that today's topic is brotherhood and sisterhood. You have any questions relating to this topic, I'll do my best to answer it once we're done, all right? Or when I see them. Baba Kasha, brother, can you please read?
Genesis 18:1. And the Most High appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day.
Now we know the Lord himself did not come down to come meet and be with Abraham. No one has seen the Most High. So angels came, messengers of the Lord came, right? Keep going.
And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him.
And 3 men were standing by Abraham, 3 angels. Keep going.
And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground.
Listen, and when brothers come and surprise us, we rush to the door, saluting them brothers, greeting those brothers, showing them brothers love. Keep going, Baba Kasha.
3, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant.
And we tell them brothers, how long y'all staying for? Y'all should stay tonight. Come inside, come have a drink. We got some strong in the class right now. We gonna order some food. How long y'all staying for? Right? We want our brothers to stay as long as possible, because we love our brothers from all over the country and from different countries, all over the world. We don't get to see them often. So when they surprise us, when they pop up on us, when we know they're coming, we want them to stay for as long as possible, and we want them to be comfortable. Keep going.
4, let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree.
Listen, y'all can stay at my house. You can stay at Abadia's house. We can go wash up, take a shower, get freshen up. Keep going.
5, and I will fetch a morsel of bread and comfort ye your hearts after that you shall pass on. For therefore are you come to your servant. And they said, so do as thou hast said.
And listen, we want our brothers to be fed. Because when brothers come here, we're servants to them. We're going to serve our brothers. They're our guests. We're going to take care of them. We want them to be fed. We want them to drink. We want them to have a fresh towel when they jump in the shower, bar of soap. We want them to have clean clothes. If they got to wash them clothes, we can go to the laundromat. Some brothers and sisters got washed and dry in the house. We want our guests. We want our brothers. We want our sisters to feel like they're at home.
Right.
And this is what Abraham is doing. He's doing the brotherly thing. He's being brotherly to these 3 men, these 3 strangers that popped up. He wants to take care of them. He wants to be there to make sure that they have everything they need. They enjoy their stay. Keep going.
Come on, sir.
Verse 6, brother.
And Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah and said, make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth.
And shout out to all those sisters that are sisters to other sisters and brothers, because we have 4 amazing sisters, right, that cooked so much food, that slaved away for hours and days preparing these foods. Off the top of my head, I know is Officer of 5,000 Yatazar's rib. We had an officer YAHANNA of 500 his rib. We had sister Kaya, right, and there was one more Trooper Lamak Lakamya Allah's rib, right. She helped with cooking and cooking and providing money and all that to make sure that the cookout was a success. Sister Nakara, all these sisters bent head over foot to make sure that all these brothers and sisters coming from all over the place to New York were served, had food, were comfortable. We rented an Airbnb just so these sisters can slave away cooking at this kitchen. We rented trucks and vans so we can transport this food to class. right? While General Hyman was teaching for the cookout, right? And this is what Sarah was doing. Sarah got the order from her husband, and she followed through with that order, right? She went to make this food for for these people. That was the sisterly thing to do. And our sisters, we applaud and commend all the sisters in the ISUPK, because when they got that spirit on them, they do everything they can for their brothers and sisters, right? Keep going, Baba Kasha.
7. And Abram ran unto the herd and fetched the calf, tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dress it.
And listen, and Abraham went to go get some meat, a cattle. Make sure they went and dressed it up, put the right amount of seasoning on it, right about it, that gad dust, right? Season that thing up real nice. Keep going.
9. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent.
Verse 8, brother.
8. And he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat.
And they had a feast. And Abraham was right there waiting to serve them, waiting to get them a napkin, waiting to get them another plate. Oh, you're some more wine again. Abraham was to these three men, these three strangers that just popped up out of nowhere. Just like all the men in the northeast region, we were servants to all our brothers and sisters that traveled from afar to come to the cookout on the East Coast. We waited on them hand and foot. We make sure that they were provided with everything they needed, right? Captain Zakar had hotels set up, right? We had activities for the kids to enjoy. You know, if it wasn't for the rain, we would have had and more nightly entertainment for the brothers. You know, we went to the casino one night. The rain caused a little bit of chaos for the Saturday night's entertainment. We picked up brothers and sisters from the airport, transported them to the hotel, transported them to camp on Friday, right? Transported them to the cookout and back. We picked up brothers when we were servants to our brothers and sisters. And this is a great example of Abraham, right? Keep going, Baba Sean.
Oh, good. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. 10. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him.
And listen. Just imagine, right? Imagine if Abraham did not do the brotherly thing. Imagine if Abraham would have said, all right, you losers, get out of here. This is my land. What you doing in my land? What you doing outside my tent? Do I know you guys? Imagine if he did not welcome them. Imagine if he did not give them soap and a towel and water to freshen up and wash in. Imagine if he didn't bend over backwards to give them a glorious feast. I don't know about you. I could go for some beef right now, right? With some butter and bread, right? I'm hungry now. I'm pretty sure you're hungry, Abadia. I would love some of that. Abraham didn't have to do that. But Abraham is a brother. Abraham has that spirit of brotherhood in him that here in the ISUPK, we teach and mold all men and women to have when they come into this truth. We stress the importance of brotherhood and sisterhood. And we stress the importance of keeping it and making it grow. And if Abraham wouldn't have done all these things, who knows? Maybe Sarah would never have gotten pregnant. Maybe there would have been no Isaac. There wouldn't be a Jacob. There wouldn't be an Israelite. There wouldn't be an Israel to have 12 sons and call them Israelites. We wouldn't be here. All because of this moment of brotherhood, right? Abraham and his wife became pregnant, and they were going to have a son named Isaac. All right? Let's drop that. And we're going to go Let's go to verse 19.
Verse 19.
Sorry, let's go to verse 20.
20. And the Most High said,
Sorry, I apologize once again. Verse 16, Babakasha.
16. And the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom. And Abram went with them to bring them on the way.
It's time for these men to leave, right? They get up, look in the direction of Sodom, and that's the direction they're going to go in. They're going to go, these three men who are angels are going to Sodom and Gomorrah and all the other cities filled with sin and wickedness. Keep going.
17. And the Most High said, shall I do?
And the Lord's like, should I not tell Abraham what I'm about to do? Should I tell Abraham what I'm about to do? Keep going.
Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
You know, Abraham is going to be, his seed is going to grow into a powerful, wonderful nation. And because of his seed that's going to come through, which ends up being the Israelites, all nations are going to be blessed, right? And the other nations are going to be blessed because there's not going to be no more murder. There's not going to be no more eating pigs and bats and causing swine flu and COVID-19, right? There's not going to be no more child molestation and no more rape and homosexuality. The other nations are going to be blessed because of this, right? Keep going.
19. For I know him that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Most High to do justice and judgment, that the Most High may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken.
And listen, we know that Abraham is going to raise his children the correct way, get his children to serve, obey, and follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. And that's how it's going to be for all the, right? You're right. They're going to do justice and bring fair and righteous judgment onto the entire earth, right? So let me just check as we wait for. Let me just. No comments or no questions on YouTube. Listen, guys, if you guys have any questions on the topic, let me know so we can answer them for you, all right? All right, let me check the Facebook. Let's see. All right, we're good. No, we're good. All right, let's continue, Babakasha. We're on verse 20 now, right?
And the Most High said, because the and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which has come unto me. And if not, I will know. 22. And the men turned their faces and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Most High.
So Abraham ends up finding out what the Lord is planning to do, right? He knows that basically the Lord's going to go over there. He's sending these angels over there to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, to destroy the wickedness that is and infested the land, right? So Abraham, being a brother again, right? Because every big brother wants to protect his little brother from harm. Every big brother always tries to protect his and his own, right? And Abraham's right here. He knows who lives in Sodom and Gomorrah. He knows who lives in that land. His nephew Lot. So you know what Abraham's going to do? Abraham's going to stand before these angels, stand before the Lord, and try to reason with them and argue with them and debate with them to not destroy Lot, because that's his whole intentions, not to kill his nephew, who he loves, who he has. What was that? And I think it was in the book of Romans. Kindly affectionate and brotherly love too, right? Keep reading, Baba Kasha.
23, and Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
So he's talking to these angels who are speaking for the Lord. Are you gonna destroy? Make sure the mic is off, right? Are you gonna destroy the righteous with the wicked? That's crazy. You got people who obey you, who obey the Lord, who follows in his footsteps, who does what the Lord says to do, and you're gonna go destroy them with these wicked people? That's crazy. You can't do that. That doesn't make any sense. They serve you, they worship you, they do everything you tell them to do. Do you really think they deserve to die with all these sinners who hate you, who don't do what you tell them to do, who constantly commit sin and break your laws, statutes, and commandments? Keep going, Baba Kasha. 24.
Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein?
So Abraham's like, all right, God. What if there's 50 righteous people living in the city? Are you going to go destroy the city and not spare those 50 righteous people? Keep going.
25. That be far from thee to do after this manner to slay the righteous with the wicked.
That doesn't sound like you, Lord. It doesn't. I know that you wouldn't kill these righteous people with these wicked people. These wicked people deserve death. But it is. I know you won't put to death these righteous people who serve you too, or right along with them. That doesn't sound like you, oh Lord, oh most powerful, oh most high, the creator of heaven and earth, the one who blessed me, who led me out of my father's home, who's given me all these blessings and all these great things. It doesn't sound like you to do that. Keep going.
To slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from thee.
Yeah, it's unlike you, Lord, to kill the righteous with the wicked. To kill the righteous just like you will kill the wicked. That doesn't sound like you. Continue.
Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?
You are the judge of all heaven and earth. Wouldn't you think that you would do what's right? Killing the righteous and the wicked together for what the crimes of the wicked have done, doesn't that seem a little unrighteous? Doesn't that seem wrong, oh Most High? He's pleading with the Lord. He's trying to convince the Lord not to do the thing that he's about to do. He's trying to get the Lord to repent from his decision of destroying everyone in Sodom and Gomorrah. Keep going. And he's doing it in a very cunning way. He's not being disrespectful. He's being humble. He's being kind. He's being sincere, but he's being wise about it. Keep going, Abadia. Verse 26.
And the Most High said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place.
So the Lord's like, you know what? Abraham, you're right. If there's 50 righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah, I will spare all the place for their sake. I'll spare Sodom and Gomorrah if I can find 50 righteous people in there. Keep going, Babu Shah. Yes, go ahead, brother.
Understand about the Most High.
You make sure the mic's on. Go ahead, brother.
The Most High is very fair, because you always hear about how one man can screw it up for everybody, but you're seeing how a small amount can actually save everybody.
Correct.
Because he's really saying, you basically, not to get extreme, I don't care whatever disgusting homosexual act you are doing. Okay, I don't care about whatever disgusting homosexual act you are doing, but because your neighbor is so good, I'm not going to destroy your apartment building.
Yep. That's right.
That is crazy.
Listen, one man brought us all to sin, and one man died for us all to be saved. Go ahead, buddy.
With that being said, I guess that building in Florida probably would have wished there was a prophet living there.
Right? You absolutely damn right. Because when you have people who serve, when you have Israelites, Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans who serve the Lord, we want all our people to be saved. And that's why I'm very grateful for the I.S.U.P.K and Commanding General YAHANNA, because in here we don't pray for our people's destruction. Israelites do, who are not in this one body. Pray for them to repent. We pray for the Lord to continue to have mercy on them. And this is what Abraham is trying to do. He's trying to get the Lord to have on Sodom and Gomorrah, because he knows his nephew, who he loves, lives there. He knows Lot obeys the Lord, because there's not one thing that we have now where it says that Lot did not obey the Lord, because Lot was brought up by Abraham. Abraham took Lot, right? When you take someone, you're gonna do what they do. You're gonna live how they live. Lot is living the way Abraham told him to live, showed him to live. He's serving the Lord. Abraham knows Gomorrah, and he's trying to convince the Lord in a very and humbly way to not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, because Lot is there. Anything else? All right, keep going, Baba Shah.
With the righteous.
Verse 20.
And said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Most High, which am but dust and ashes.
And look at him being smart. He goes, listen, I'm nothing compared to you. I'm like dust and dirt. Please allow me to keep speaking to you. Right? Keep going.
John 28, peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for a lack of 5? And he said, if I find thee 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
And Abraham is getting smart. He goes, but sir, my Lord, but what if there's only 45 righteous men, 45 righteous people living in the city? Are you going to destroy all of them with the wicked just because it's 45 and not 50? And the Lord's like, God damn Abraham. You know what? If I can find 45 righteous people living there, I won't destroy more. You happy? You happy now? Is that okay with you, Abraham? Keep going, Baba Shah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say, like, when it comes to things like, I remember General Muhammad broke down about Egypt, and then like you can apply this to this, like with the whole Egypt situation, he knew that's how Egypt had you getting killed. And they're taking your wife. So it wasn't just, I think this is going to, I know people who have traveled to Egypt and said, yo, they their wives. Like in this instance, Abraham knew, yes, Sodom and Gomorrah is full of nothing but faggot, homosexual, salakia. Yeah. So can you find 50? Wait, that actually might not even be 50. 45, wait, that might actually be 40. And then it's like
he's trying to work his way down.
Right, imagine the brother today and ATL in San Francisco. If you can find 50 non-homosexuals in all,
or Atlanta,
there might not be 50 non-homosexuals in all of San Francisco.
Or Atlanta,
right? So it's like,
keep going.
So it's like, what's it called? It shows you how bad it was.
Yeah,
like you said, I can't even bank on 50 or 45.
Let's keep reading, because he's trying to get more wiggle room and lower the number.
Right, 29. And he spake unto him yet again, and said, peradventure found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake.
And Abraham like, but Lord, what if there's only 40 righteous people? Are you going to destroy because there's only 40 and not 50? And the Lord's like, all right, Abraham, I'm not going to destroy the land if I find 40 righteous people. Keep going, Baba Shah.
30. And he said unto him, oh, let not the Most High be angry.
Please, Lord, don't be angry with me.
And I will speak.
And allow me to, no, it's okay, brother. And allow me to speak to you, O Most High. O great, powerful, ancient of days and father of time and all this good stuff. Don't be angry with me. Please let me speak with you. Keep going.
Peradventure there shall 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there.
Lord, what if there's only 30 righteous people there? and not 50. And the Lord says, Abraham, okay, I won't destroy the land if I find 30 righteous people.
Notice he's up in numbers.
Yeah.
It was 5. Now it's
He's going to multiple tens.
right.
It was 50 people. Then it was 45. Then it was 40. Now he's just like, okay, let me see how much further I can go.
Right.
30. What if there's 30 people there? Are you still going to destroy it? Lord's like, no, I won't destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. If there's 30 right, you're going to
31. And he said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Most High. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 26.
So he drops another 10. He goes, okay, let me see if he'll go for 20. So Lord, oh humble, faithful, merciful, all powerful, what if there's only 20? And the Lord says, I won't destroy if there's 20 righteous men. Keep going, Baba Shah.
32. And he let not the Most High be angry, and I will speak yet, but the peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake.
And he's just trying to go a little bit low. He goes, Lord, please don't be mad at me. Please forgive me for speaking to you, oh Lord. You know, what if there's only 10? We started at 50. We worked our way all the way down to 10 now. What if there's only 10 righteous people? The Lord's like, Abraham, I won't destroy it if there's 10 righteous people, all right? Now, knowing me, I'm like, listen, you're pissing me off now.
Right.
I went from 50, now I'm all the way down to 10.
Right.
Keep going, Baba Shah.
33. And the Most High went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham unto his place.
And the angels left, heading to the direction of Sodom and Gomorrah, and Abraham went to his own place, right? You know, good thing, brother. Right, and this is what leads us up into the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where two angels end up going to Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? As we flip the page to Genesis chapter 19, we learn about what Lot does, right? So let's see the brotherhood that Lot learned from his uncle Abraham. We're going to start at verse 1, Genesis 19, verse 1.
Genesis 19 and 1. And there came two angels at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground.
Doesn't that sound familiar?
Concept.
We just read that in chapter 18, where Abraham did the same exact thing. He ran to meet the bowed down, right? And look what Lot is doing. Right. The same thing that his uncle taught him. Right. He's doing the brotherly thing that he learned from Abraham, his uncle. Go ahead, brother.
I was just going to say, I guess it wasn't 10.
What?
I guess it wasn't 10.
Right? It wasn't 10. 10 righteous people.
Right. And he said, behold, now, my lords, turn in you into your servant's house and tarry all night and wash your feet. And ye shall rise up early and go on your way.
And Lot, taking a page right out of the, showing great brotherhood. Listen, I beg you guys, come into my house. You know, Lot knows he lives in an evil and wicked place.
Right.
He knows these men look out of place.
Right.
Come into my house. Let me take care of you. Let me feed you. Let me wash your feet. Let me give you a you can eat and drink here, and in the morning, you guys can go safely about your way. He took a play right out of Abraham's playbook. Really thing to do. Keep going, Baba Shah.
Count, sir.
And they said,
nay, but we will abide in the street all night.
And the angels are saying, no, we're good. We're going to stay here in these streets. Because remember, the angels are there looking for 10 righteous people.
Right.
So they want to be in the streets to find 10 righteous people.
Right.
Meanwhile, they know.
Right.
They know this already. Angels know everything the Lord knows because the Lord tells them. And they know Lot is part of that trying to find. They're trying to find the other 10 now. But Lot is pressing them. Keep going.
3, and he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned him and entered into his house.
But Lot wouldn't take no for an answer. Lot's like, listen, you guys need to come into my house right now. I'm going to take care of you tonight. You're going to have no worries. Go ahead, buddy.
Now, I'm going to say he what's called going back to what I said earlier, because it's a known fact of what goes on.
Yeah, it is.
Like every club has a goddamn like when you're walking out, they have an HIV van.
Yep.
Like to get tested. Like everybody knows how this place gives it up.
And Lot knows. And he also knows that these two people are complete strangers and they don't know what the Lot is doing the brotherly thing to do, the sisterly thing to do. Go ahead, everybody.
If I may, and this is something that doesn't get brought
Don't
up.
stand close to the mic, to the speaker,
sorry,
because it's going to pick up.
This is something that doesn't get brought up a lot, and people like overlook this. But what Lot is showing is that a very big thing in the homosexual community that we well know in the UPK is that is a community that breeds and basically comes from
lack of brotherhood.
Right. And what's it called? And Lot is pressing on these men. Why? Because he knows if you do not get in my house tonight, you will be sexually assaulted on these streets.
Yep. That's exactly what's going to happen. There's no brotherhood out on these streets past a certain time.
Right.
You got nothing but drug dealers and pimps and whores and murderers, right? Homosexuals running rampant. Lot does not want these two men who are actually angels to be out there on these streets when all this chaos is about to go down. Keep going, Baba Kishore. The end of verse 3.
Them a feast. Salakia.
No sweat.
Turn the page and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat.
So Lot got them to enter into his house, stay the night, gave them water to wash up, fresh bread to sleep in, food and drink for the night. Keep going, Baba.
They did eat. 4. But before the city, even the men of Sodom compassed the house round, old and young, all the people from every quarter.
But before everyone can go to these sexual predators, these child molesters, these disgusting homosexuals and bisexuals and transsexuals surrounded Lot's house. Keep going.
4. But before they lay down, 5. And they called unto Lot and said unto him, where are the men which came in to thee this night? Bring them out unto us that we may know them.
These men were calling out to Lot, demanding him to bring out these men that he brought into his house, to bring them outside, because they wanted to have their way with them. They wanted to rape these men, sexually assault these men.
Right.
These disgusting homosexuals, sexual deviants, these bestiality people, these disgusting, sinful, and wicked people wanted to rape and assault these men is taken care of.
Well, I'll wait. I want to say something, but I'll wait till a few verses.
No sweat. Go ahead, brother. Keep going.
6. And Lot went out at the door unto them and shut the door after him. 7.
And Lot, he said, okay, they're calling me. Let me go out there, see if I can solve the situation. Closes the door, and he's facing the big crowd. This mob of this mob of child molesters, this mob of rapists and pedophiles and homosexuals. Keep going.
7. And said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly.
And he's telling them, listen, don't do this thing. Don't rape these two men. Don't sexually assault these two men. Don't harm these two men in the wicked lifestyle you guys are in. Keep going.
8. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known man. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Do no thing, for therefore came they under the shadow of my roof.
Your Lot was offering his own untouched daughters to these homosexuals. Was willing to let these homosexuals have sex with women for once. Just so that way he can save these two men. Just so that way he can save them from being raped and sexually violated by this group of disgusting, perverted, give me some other hard words. Disgusting, perverted,
Degenerate,
degenerate, sadistic,
Yeah, Khan. Sick.
sick,
Degrading.
degrading sexual predators and homosexuals, these disgusting pedophiles and child molesters. He was willing to give up his own untouched daughters to save the lives of these two men. That's extreme brotherhood. Keep going about you.
Khan. 9, and they said, stand back. And they said again, this one fellow came into sojourn, and he will need to be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them.
Look at this, look at this, look at this man Lot. He comes and lives in our lands and he thinks he can judge us on how we live in our lifestyle. We're gonna treat you worse than what we're gonna treat these men. Go ahead, buddy.
And this is what I wanted to bring out earlier. Like, what's called their whole thing is bring us the men who came in with you. Meaning what? They were plotting on these two
The entire
angels
time.
the minute they came into the city.
Yeah.
And and the second thing I wanted to because it's like you have to understand, like, this story is more than just a story and an account. It's a really like showing you homosexuals in their natural habitat and how they would truly act, unabated and unquestioned, like really
Unchecked.
Yeah, unchecked. Like they're really like, how do I say it?
Violence and bullies.
Yes, and it's like and it's all about, and it's kind of weird because the women and the sisters, like, mind you, these angels probably give off the vibe of real men. And you know what you get with a real man? You know that they're not a homosexual.
Yeah.
In the eyes of a homosexual, someone who, I guess, likes that lifestyle for the pleasure of it, an untouched man would be, I guess, gold to him.
Yeah, would be like a untouched woman to a straight male.
But my thing is, you probably get a better feel. Technically, you would get a better feeling from a woman. But in their eyes, the evil is so much better than them. The bullying is so much better than them.
That lust.
Right.
That sexual deviancy.
And not even just necessarily the lust aspect of it, because obviously there's lust. But like, you find out a lot of these homosexuals and from TV shows that sadly they put them in, like rough play prior to it. Homosexuals really have a thing about
violence
during sex, though.
Yeah, like, that's why rape
abnormal.
Like, rape is a violent act.
Right, and it shows where this comes from because a lot of them were violently raped or molested.
Yes.
And lastly, not least, we question where it comes from in Sodom and Gomorrah. The house was surrounded round about by young and old.
Yeah, by old sexual predators. Right. And homosexuals and young sexual predators and homosexuals. How do the young become homosexuals? Because of the old homosexuals. How do the young become sexual predators? Because of the old sexual predators that were the predator. You gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say you could switch out old for predator and young for victim.
Yeah, victim, prey.
Yeah, prey is a better word, Khan.
Let's keep reading.
Khan, sir.
Verse 10.
10. But I don't think I got to the breakdown the door. And they pressed sore.
Okay, yes.
And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door.
And they were going to break down this door just to get at these two men that were inside Lot's house.
Right. 10. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them.
The angels saved Lot. Lot was standing up and defending these two men who are actually angels.
Right.
And in return, these two angels, I would like to say, proud of the brotherhood and the righteousness that Lot is displaying, saved Lot.
Right.
They pulled him back into the house. Right. Keep going.
11. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door.
And these angels made these sexual predators and homosexuals and disgusting sexual deviants blind. So now they could be blind homosexuals. Now they could be blind sexual predators. Now they have to walk around with canes and sticks, trying not to bump into walls for how disgusting they are. Right? Keep going, Baba Shah.
Salakia. But Salakia. 11. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blind Salakia. 12. And the men said unto Lot, hast thou here any besides son-in-law and thy sons and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city, bring them out of this place. For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Most High, and the Most High hath sent us to destroy it.
And the two men reveal that they're actually angels, and they're telling us, listen, do you have any other relatives, any family members, any people that you love? Because we're gonna, so that way you can escape this city, because we're going to destroy it by the order of the Most High God. Keep going.
14. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-laws, which married his daughters, and said, up, get ye out of this place, for the Most High will destroy this city.
And listen, Lot, he could have done a selfish, like back to Abraham's first example of brotherhood.
Right.
He could have did the selfish thing and said no to the angels. Let's just get us the heck out of here right now.
Right.
Take me, my wife, and my two daughters right here. This is all I got right now. Let's all just go. He could have did the selfish thing, but he was selfless at this moment. Again, a play right out of the playbook of Abraham's playbook. He said he went to his other daughters who were married to other men that lived outside of his house and was telling them, listen, we got to go. The Lord is about to destroy this. I want you all to come with me. I want to save, I want to destroy this place. And you know what his daughter's husband said? They laughed in his face. They didn't believe him. They liked living in Sodom and Gomorrah. They were probably disgusting, wicked sinners, and he just probably had mercy on them and wanted to save them as well. But they laughed at him. They mocked Lot. Keep going.
Khan. But 15. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, arise, take thy two daughters, which are here, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity city.
Now it's morning time. The angels like, all right, rise and shine. Lot, you, your wife, your two daughters, it's time to go before you get destroyed in this destruction. Keep going.
16. And while he lingered, the men lay upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his two daughters, the Most High being merciful unto him. And they brought him forth and set him with
Lot, his wife, and his two daughters were saved.
Right.
You know why they were saved? They were saved for multiple reasons. One, because Abraham taught Lot to obey the Lord. That's brotherhood. Teaching your brother, your son, your sister, your wife, your daughters, your family to obey and serve the Lord. That's brotherhood. That's sisterhood. 2, because Abraham pleaded to destroy anyone that was righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's brotherhood. To want your loved ones and your people to live and not be destroyed, that is brotherhood and that is sisterhood. And to go out his way to show brotherhood to these two strangers, to feed these two strangers, to sacrifice everything he loves most, his two daughters, just so that these two strangers wouldn't be sexually and physically violated by the homosexual community. He was willing to give up his two daughters to save them. That's brotherhood. And here in the I.S.U.P.K, we thrive because of brotherhood. We thrive because of sisterhood. Now, today's lesson, you should have been taking note of all these examples of lack of brotherhood and examples of brotherhood. There was like 2 examples of being selfish, right? Sorry, 1 example of being selfish. Abraham lying to Pharaoh, telling his wife to lie to Pharaoh, wife lying to Pharaoh, just so he wouldn't be put to death because he had no faith in the Lord at that moment. And then we have multiple examples of real brotherhood, of selflessness. And that's what the I.S.U.P.K is all about. Brotherhood, sisterhood. And here in the I.S.U.P.K under commanding General YAHANNA, we will continue because of brotherhood. Because we have great brothers above us that teach us this brotherhood. And it trickles down and it passes down to new brothers and sisters to this school. Let me check. Any questions on YouTube? Let me see. Hold on. I see something. Angela Whisper said, what happened if you're doing what the Most High is telling you to do and things are getting in the way? Well, if you are obeying the Lord's law, statutes, and commandments, and you think that there are obstacles in your way, right? That's just a test to see if you're going to keep obeying the Lord. The Lord don't want weak women. The Lord doesn't want weak men. And in the I.S.U.P.K, we also don't want weak sisters in this truth in order to be a brother and sister in this school. You need to prove and overcome these obstacles and beat these obstacles and sacrifice so that way these obstacles, these things that are in your way, don't interfere with you obeying these laws, statutes, and commandments. So you have to strive and persevere and fight through these obstacles that are in your way to continue to serve the Lord. All right, let's see what else. The Lord doesn't tempt anyone, right, Angela? But the Lord wants to see if you're worthy. So you have to prove to the Lord that you're worthy. All right? John Johnson, we can't really say how beautiful the Israelite woman is because Sarah wasn't an Israelite. Israelites only come from Jacob. But I definitely understand what you mean. These Egyptians saw how beautiful Abraham's woman was. You know what I mean? And they were amazed. All right. Let's see. The water, Trupa Yashawam. That's another good word I could have used. Abominable, right? Yes, John Johnson. Hebrew women are more beautiful than heathen women. Israelite women is what I'm actually meaning. All right. All right. I'm sorry, Angela. I'm not sure what you mean. Angela, well, you might want to refresh everything or refresh your YouTube, all right? Ahava, Yahweh, what's the difference between Yahuwah and Yahweh? Yahuwah is a bastardized way of saying the Most High's name, which is Yahweh, which is the correct way to say the Most High's name. All right? Let me check Facebook. Say again? Just Kashak? Any no questions? All right. So I think it's time to end the class now. All right, and with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Prophet of 1,000, Officer Abadia. Abadia, if you mind, or just reading the announcements real quick, all right?
We are the Israelites out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Ruth and them brothers and sisters comes into the school. They are off limits. They have to be saluted only. They have to shut themselves in the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is commanded, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8 through 10. 10th of the Hebrew, I.S.U.P.K. 10% of any penny of any increase of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest funds, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upholding holy convocation is the memorial blowing of trumpets. That'll be September 6th, right here in the school and headquarters. Check the bulletin board for any upcoming events. Anyone who wants to be a trooper in the school, start to wear all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, we say I.S.U.P.K, and I.S.U.P.K, Shabbat, Barak, Shabbat, I.S.U.P.K, Barak, Yahweh, dismissed.
Most High in Christ.